We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you're making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Massive show in store for you tonight. Ruffino's Rants. How do I want to use this verbiage without being very rude? The people in college football that make crap loads of money are trying to change it yet again this time, and I'm talking about for the absolute worst, trying to change college football again. The white hair, we don't care as long as our pocketbooks are filled to the brim. We will touch on that tonight. If you missed it earlier today, Ross Dellinger broke some news in reference to college football executives, whoever in the world college football executives are. If you're going to, and I think Ross Dellinger is elite, not good, not great, elite at what he does in reference to reporting. But when you just use the verbiage college football executives and you're saying that there's changes, you better start naming those individuals who are trying to change college football for the worst. Newsflash, this isn't the NFL. I love college football. I love the NFL too. It's not the same. It's like Lil Wayne says, we are not the same. I am a Martian. College football is different from the NFL. Ruffino's Rants starting off the show. I am pissed off. If you cannot tell, we'll touch on that here tonight. LSU baseball, what do you want to see tomorrow? So if there's something specific, like Thatcher Hurd, his performance, what you want to see at the plate, defensively, whatever it is you want to see tomorrow at 2 p.m. when LSU takes on Southern, put it inside the chat right now, and we will get to as many of those comments throughout the show as we can. Jayden Daniels, so we were supposed to talk about this last night, but anytime WBRZ's Matt Trent comes on, we are unable to get to more than one topic, it seems so many times. But nevertheless, Jayden Daniels has been in Dallas over this past weekend, working out with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Jackson Dart with 3D QB. What does he look like? What have they been doing? And what the vibe is from people that we talk to and sources around 3D QB, who's been there with Bryce and C.J. Stroud all weekend long, what they've seen from Jayden Daniels, your LSU quarterback. As look officially, it's so LSU kind of made a little bit of a boo-boo, I think, saying that it was going to be March the 6th that spring football was going to start, but about another month as they officially announced. It looks like it's going to be March the 24th will be the opening day for that. March the 6th seemed really, really early for that to be starting anyway. That's why I was kind of questioning it last week, so we'll talk on that. Probably somebody that we will talk to about Jayden Daniels here tonight. Carter Bryant joins us at 7:30. Have your questions, hold them for Carter. Get them inside the chat. Be thinking about them, and we'll get to those with Carter, as many of them as we can as well. Derek Carr to Saints in Jeopardy. If we have time at the end, we will touch on that as well. All right, so we got a lot to get into. I am fired up here tonight. I have not – look, this has been – we come in here, and you guys know this. I'm not trying to put on a facade. Some of the things we do, some of the things we say at times, we're doing a show. We're, live from SiriusXM, live from TuneIn, live from Believe. Some of it's a caricature at some points. You're trying to be entertaining, whatever. Tonight's not going to be that. It's going to be someone who's highly pissed off at what college football executives are trying to do to our sport. And listen, as someone who played the game, as someone who's loved the game for a long time, we gave you the expanded playoff and all that kind of stuff. So we're about to tee off here tonight. So it is what it is. All right. Couple comments before we get started. Burberry says, what happened to Jayden? Nothing. I think Jayden he knows. Let me just say this. I think that there are some areas that Jayden knows that he's got to be more efficient in, and he's going to elite measures to get there. When you're working out with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and others to get to that elite level, I mean, look, we posted it. Go to our Twitter. Go follow us on Twitter. It's been on there all weekend. Kenny Fudge says Carl the Cat is out there and he is listening. I hope so. I hope so. Carl the Cat's our good buddy. Doug Ray says they're talking about not stopping the clock after first downs. Well, not only that, they're talking about starting the clock even for incompletions. But we'll touch on all that. I'll give you all of that. Brandon Schutz says, I am here. How are you? Well, good to have you, and we are good. Daniel Gabriel with the Tucci's logo on YouTube. Tucci's. He said, who can't be excited about the freshmen Kling, Jones, and Neal? I don't know. I really don't know, Daniel. They look really good, man. You're spot on in saying how can you not be excited, and to think that you got 3 more years with those young men, right? I mean, you got this year, next year, and a junior year. Absolutely amazing. Old Vet says, we are live. That we are. Kenny says JD5 gave up partying at Mardi Gras to go train for the 2023 season. This is true dedication. I agree with that. And Doug Ray, last one before we get rolling, says, but Blake, it's for the safety of the players. Yeah, you can safety this asshole. No pause. I mean, you're so full of shit. I don't understand why they're constantly trying to change football. And it's like, look, if you're going to screw me, at least give me the courtesy as a man would do, as a real man would do. Give me the courtesy and telling me the truth. Give me the courtesy and telling me the truth. Stop with this player safety bullshit. Stop. DeMar Hamlin goes down on the field, is in cardiac arrest. You have to resuscitate him, and there's no litigation coming from the NFL. He goes out there and then is asked the question, what did the doctors tell you and why that happened? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Player safety, right? Yeah, Horse crap. But I'll tell you what they're proposing right after this break. I lied. Last one. Ryan Guidry says at least Daniels is training and not going to slip with his flip-flops on. That's true. I don't think my man wears flip-flops. I think he wears slides, considering all the photos that we've seen of him in slides. All right. Pooh Bear's with us. He's going to be behind on the ones and twos. Glad to have him with us as well. They'll be live at 8 o'clock, their new time. So go check them out at the Golden Boot Podcast. They had a show last night as well. All right, let's do it, Pooh. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. Before we do that, very quickly, everybody hit the like and share, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or you listen to us on the radio, you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe as well. So close to hitting that 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're giving away the $200. We'll be live again on the Ruffino and Joe show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So subscribe to both. I am trying to give somebody $200. If you go out there and get 10, 20 people to subscribe to both, I will give you $200. I promise you that. I will end it right now. Go do it. All right. Started by good friends over at betonline.ag and GM Varno & Sons, Ruffino's Ranch. It's time to get biblical, y'all. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Vardo & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Vardo & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, if you missed today, we don't really have a lot of time to play around. Ross Dellinger this morning. So let's get this thing started, y'all. Don't forget to hit the like and share. If you missed it this morning, Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated reported that college football executives are trying to propose a change in college football. I'm not even going to go on a ramble at first. I want to give you what they're trying to propose, and we'll go off of that. The first thing that these college football executives are trying to propose is prohibiting consecutive timeouts. Like, as an example, if you're trying to ice the kicker late in the game, they don't want you to be able to use multiple timeouts. Idiotic. That's number one. No untimed downs in the first or third quarter. If of all of these, okay, whatever. You don't want untimed downs, whatever. It's not as if it's going to speed the game up anymore. Like, what are we talking about? 3 minutes here? Like, it's not going to really change anything. So if there's a penalty or something happens at the end of the first or third quarter, you're just going to go into the following quarter, and then you'll replay, or you'll redo the down, you'll do the replay, whatever. Makes no sense. That one, it doesn't really involve a lot of teams. A lot of times, it is what it is. Number 3, the clock runs on every first down except for 2 minutes inside the first and second half. Let me repeat that. The clock runs on first downs except for 2 minutes, except for the 2 minutes of each half. Well, Blake, the NFL does it. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Here's the probably the stupidest, and I'm talking about the most idiotic thing that I've ever heard. And when it comes to sports, like especially college football, is this last proposal that the clock will run on incompletions once the ball is spotted. What? What are you trying to change that for? So here are my thoughts on that. Number 1, on the timeout rule, it's their fucking timeouts. It's their timeouts to be able to do with them what they want. I understand that some of these rules, the NFL does them, right? But there's a reason why the NFL has different rules inside of the regular season and in the playoff. The overtime rule changes, as an example. But if you get to a situation where you have all 3 timeouts at the end of a game and you didn't have to burn any of those timeouts, why are you not going to be able to use them to ice a kicker? Let me give another example. LSU went for 2, right? If LSU goes for 2, they got to get 2 to either tie a game or win a game late in the fourth quarter. Does this start to kind of sound a little bit familiar? Happened the first week in November. You see a formation you don't like. You go out there, you run your offense out there, you call a timeout. Maybe something maybe you're in a situation where Jayden Daniels gets stopped at the 1 yard line. You burn a timeout because 5 seconds are left on the clock. You go out there to run another play, and then you need to call another timeout because the formation that the defense is running and what the play that you're about to run is going to be detrimental to your team. You can't call a second timeout. Why? How is that going to speed the game up? And then you're part of what does not calling two timeouts back to back, and in the college football executives meeting said it would help player safety. How does it help player safety if I get to call back-to-back timeouts in a game? That's idiotic. Here's where it really gets stupid. The clock runs on first down except for 2 minutes and a half. Now, I get that the NFL is one of, if not the biggest sport in the United States. I understand that. Maybe even the world when you talk about how much dollars that the NFL brings in. I understand that they do that. I understand that. It works good for them. This isn't the NFL. So what the NFL does and what they continue to do is lead. And lead by example when it comes to in-game things. They got things that they have to work that they have to work on. But college football and college football executives trying to make college football in this ruling, if you get a first down, the clock runs. Why are you trying to be so much like the NFL? You know, I was okay. I didn't necessarily like it. I was okay with you trying to expand the playoff. You did it. Here it comes. Next season, 2024, here comes an expanded college football playoff. You want to expand it to 12. You want to expand it to 16. You want to be more like the NFL. I get it. Generates you more money. Generates teams more money. I understand it. Then ESPN executives, CBS executives, they try to put the SEC and the Big Ten in what will ultimately be two mega conferences because it looks as if the Pac-12 is on their very last leg and not being able to strike a TV deal with anybody. Those teams are going to have to go somewhere. Looking more and more like it's going to just be a Big Four. Eventually, I'm sure it will be a Big Two. American, AFC, NFC. I get that's what college football wants to be at. I know that's what they want to do. But college football can be its own thing. You don't have to replicate the game from the NFL to college football. Newsflash, there's only 32 teams in the NFL. There's over 120 college football teams in America that can compete in the group of five and Power Five. And before you say, well, Blake, a group of five team can never make it to the playoffs, newsflash to you, Cincinnati got there a couple years ago. And this year, if you would have had a college football playoff, Tulane would have gotten into it. It's a complete, yes. Do you play the same sport? Sure. You play the same sport. But if I want to watch the NFL, which I love the NFL, my wife and I, Megan and I, have season tickets to the Saints. Her dad had them, God willing, and bless his heart. When he passed away, they came to us, and we've continued to have those tickets. Love the Saints. Love the NFL. But as God is my witness, I just don't understand the ideas and thought processes of why you're trying to make college football so much more like the NFL. Why can't it be its own thing? Hell, you're literally, guys, LSU as an example, made $50 million in TV revenue last year. There's 14 teams in the SEC, about to be 16 next year, in which that deal is supposed to exceed $60 to $70 million a year in TV money. You know who I blame, and we'll get to number 4 in just a second. You know who I blame? At some point, commissioners got to step up. Greg Sankey, I think, has been a great commissioner. But at what point are you trying to sell your soul in all of this? You know, the NCAA went to court last week. I don't know if you know this, but the NCAA went to court last week and lost. And I think ultimately they're trying to lose these federal court cases when it comes to paying players, calling them employees. They are trying so hard to become the NFL. It's ridiculous. That's not the most egregious thing. Here's the most egregious thing. We gave you the expansion. We gave you the expanded playoff. We gave you the mega conferences. No one's in a big uproar. But then I look at number 4. The fourth proposal and the last proposal in all of this is that the clock runs on incompletions once the ball's been spotted. Can someone explain to me what logical sense it means? It is that you're going to run the clock on an incompletion. What do you do for a spike? What do you do? You have this older generation running college athletics. You got a new president who is a sitting governor, or was a sitting governor, who's now going to be the NCAA president, who doesn't have a football background, trying to run college football. You have yelled at me. You have argued with me. You have told me I'm a big-ass Rudy Poo for saying that college football needs an outright commissioner. I am telling you, there has to be an outright commissioner who can fight these battles and say, when ESPN runs their happy-go-lucky asses into the SEC, Big Ten, whatever offices that they think that they can control, and say, you know what? We want shorter games and longer TV timeouts. Why don't, if you're wanting to speed the game up, here's a thought. You can have the same amount in reference to quantity of commercials. Why don't you just reduce the number of times, and instead of it being a minute commercial, make it a 30-minute commercial? Instead of CBS and their Rudy Poo ass, quite honestly, football broadcasting, instead of taking, I went to a game last year. CPS called an LSU game, LSU Ole Miss. Did you know LSU called a timeout in the first half, and the TV timeout was literally in real life, was 7 minutes and 42 seconds? But yet you're worried about the player safety. You're worried about so many different things. You know what hurts player safety? Sitting there for 7 minutes so that you can make your money. You're literally going to run the clock on incompletions. That's who came up with that proposal? I think the person that came up with the proposal that the clock should run on incompletions should be banned from sports for the rest of their life. If the person has DirecTV needs to make sure that their package, does not have sports on television. It's a joke. And you might ask yourself, well, why is Blake so upset about this? Guys, it's changing everything college athletics is about. Everything that college athletics is about. And you wonder why I'm stressed about why college football is changing. This past weekend, a player at Tennessee, for the University of Tennessee, I know majority of you in here hate Tony Vitello. I get it. Really, I get it. I know how brash Italians can be. One day, I will tell you a story about Tony Vitello's sister yelling at my nephew at a baseball game, and then she felt so bad, she went to the concession stand and got him something to eat and brought it back to him. That's how that whole family acts. I understand it. It's how most Italians act. But they change so many things in college athletics to where a guy at the plate in Tennessee this past weekend is screaming for time. Screaming, timeout, 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 timeout. And the fat, saggy, big titty ass, no good motherfucker behind home plate is not giving him a timeout with that big, satty ass, big ass areola pepperoni and titty nipples. What the fuck are we doing here? I don't fucking get it. It's all about the dollar. And then here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. You will get mad at me. You'll get mad at Gordon. You'll get mad at whoever for doing NIL deals, but you won't go after the motherfuckers that are trying to change the game right in front of your face. You go on Twitter. You say, oh, NIL's bad. Oh, kids shouldn't get paid. But yet, ADs across the country are selling their fucking souls for this. For what? For what? The true definition of sellout. The true definition of sellout is ADs and commissioners across the country. Clock runs on incompletions. I really want to walk into the NCAA's office in Indianapolis and be like Denzel on training day. I'm about to put cases on all you bitches. Running the clock on incompletions. Have you lost your ever-living mind? Prohibiting consecutive timeouts, whatever, take it. No untimed downs in the first and third quarter. You know what? If it makes your jollies feel really good, go ahead and take it. But the clock running on first down is something that has been in college football for a while now. Or the clock being stopped, excuse me, has something that has been in college athletics for a while now in college football. Was there when I played. But my God, start the clock when an incompletion happens. I dare you. Blake's making threats. Yes. All right. Couple comments. Dane Bergeron, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, Blake, I am 100%, 1,000% with you. College football needs a commissioner. I would caveat that in that it should be someone that actually understands football. I'm with you. I've been preaching and screaming for the rafters. Look, do I like Roger Goodell? No. Really, I don't. You know what Roger Goodell, though, really is? A damn good businessman, and stupid shit like this doesn't happen. Bro, they're literally trying to change things that makes no sense. Rob says Blake's hot tonight. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed. Doug Ray says, you say that as if ADs have sold their souls. They have sold their souls. Commissioners have sold their souls. I mean, guys, at what part are you just going to say, can you chill out with the rule changes for a minute? Cool. Tulane's going to play Georgia next week. Tulane would have made the playoff. Let me just tell you something really quickly. You think LSU was bad? Okay. Tulane would have gotten their absolute titty nipples ripped off if they would have gone to Athens and played. Good luck. Good luck, Tulane, going to Athens and playing them in December. Good luck. But Blake, look at TCU. TCU couldn't get past the 50-yard line after they scored their first touchdown. They didn't do it for 3.5 quarters after. All right. One more. Andrew Paul Martin says, here's 2 suggestions. Expedited reviews, yes, and cut down on media breaks, yes, but no, let's do it ass backwards. They're doing it ass backwards. People saying that they'll never eat pepperoni pizzas again. It's stupid, man. It's the stupidest thing that I've ever seen. And by the way, like I mentioned earlier in the show, you get to a situation where I think Ross Dellinger is an elite reporter? Yes, I do. Like, really, I do. I think that what he does for his job, he does it extremely well. One of the better ones out there. The problem I have with Ross Dellinger's report today is don't tell me college football executives. Start naming names. Because here's, to wrap this up, here's all that they're doing. They're leaking this story. Guys, being in this business as long as I have, they're leaking the story to Ross Dellinger to see your reaction. Because they have no idea what they're doing. All right. Let's get to Carter Bryant. Jayden Daniels working out with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud this weekend. I know that Carter saw that, and we'll talk some college football. Spring in about a month away. What is he looking forward to? We'll touch on that, but let's talk about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Back in 1 minute. Carter the Power Bryant, excuse me.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
Carter, I'm pissed.
Let's hear it. Why are you mad?
Did you see Ross Dellinger's report today?
No, I'm kidding. I always tune in a few seconds before I come on. Yeah, I heard you pretty angry. What is the biggest issue you have?
Clock running on incompletions. What
okay.
I mean, like,
so you don't have issues with the first 3. That seems to be the
I mean, look, if you want to change the first 2, the chance. But see, here's the problem I have with number 1. Hypothetically, LSU. Let's set the stage here. LSU versus Alabama. Okay, in Tuscaloosa next season. Jayden Daniels throws a beautiful 30-yard bomb to Malik Neighbors, but he just so happens to get tackled at the 1. Okay? You call a timeout. Okay? Go off on the sidelines. You come up with a play. You go back out there to run it, and then the defense gives you a look that you don't like, and the play's just not going to work. You have 2 other timeouts. So now you're telling me I can't call another timeout even though I've gone literally 29 minutes and held on to those? That is number 1. That's idiotic. Okay?
Right. They could take
number 2, if you don't want to do the untimed downs to speed up the game of all of these, whatever. Carter, the clock running even though you get a first down, look, I get it. But this isn't the NFL. You don't have to do everything the NFL does. If the NFL jumps off the bridge, you don't have to.
Right.
And then number 4, the clock running on incompletions is probably, and I say this with all due respect, is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right. So I'll shout out Pierce right here because I am a believer that if you can speed up sports, do it, right? I am a pro 7-inning college baseball guy.
Carter, but stop though.
I'm going to focus on the topic at hand. I'm going to focus at the topic at hand, okay? I am pro pitch clock. I am pro everything speeded up. I am not in this instance, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a college
Name
football
one of
guy.
those that speeds it up.
None of it really.
That's not detrimental to the game.
None of it really speeds it up all that much. It just doesn't. Like, I feel as if let's take the incompletion rule. I think everyone's in agreement that the clock running after incompletions is not great. I would not do that one. The other three are interesting. They're trying to save time. I totally get it.
Hey, here's an idea. Had the same amount of timeouts, but instead of a minute, do 30 seconds and sell the same ad.
Or what I think they will do, Blake, is at some point you're going to start seeing some split screen ads, right? Where
you know who did that and the time went down? Amazon.
What did they do? I'm curious. I have no idea about the
split screen commercials. Did you know that their games were 34 minutes less time than any other?
Okay, so you're talking about the Thursday night broadcast. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, I think
you're in a timeout. It's a 30-second timeout. Run an ad.
Right. So I think you'll start seeing when a team is in the huddle, they'll show a split screen ad. Now, obviously, if you play Tennessee or no huddle teams, that changes things. But, as we move along, you'll see more ad integration. And hopefully that shortens the games. But honestly, a lot of this is on the networks, right? They have these super long commercial breaks that last infinity. And that really is what slows things down more than anything else. So, I think they're going to experiment with a few things, but I do agree with what you said. They leaked this to Ross Dellinger to see what the public
No doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And I'm sending this to the governor of Massachusetts. I'm sending this to everybody I know because I'm clipping it and I'm telling them that they sold their souls to the devil.
I love it.
Why do we have to constantly change things? Let me just say this, I'm okay with 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm too. Look. Here's why I'm pretty ardent about the length of college football games. You only get 13 of them a year if you make a bowl, right? You're only guaranteed 12 of them. That's it. Who cares if they last 7 years? I don't. I want as much college football as I can. So I don't get the need to speed things up and put it in a 3-hour window. But what I also think, Blake, there have been some studies being released on this, is that Gen Z's attention span isn't as long. And
fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them.
You and MJ, you and the Michael Jordan meme, F them kids.
Carter, they don't make up a third of our population.
I know, but that's why they're doing it. That's why a lot of people want to speed things up, because Gen Z likes things.
Gen Z can't people born in Gen Z can't spell Gen Z.
But yeah, I think that's why they're doing it, Blake. They want everything. And look, here's what I think is going to happen, right? I think a lot of sports leagues are going to worry about the length of things because of Gen Z, because of attention spans being shorter. But the issue is college football doesn't have to worry about that because of one reason. They have something that the other sports leagues don't have, and that is immediacy. Every game carries so much freaking weight. And when there is so much weight on something, people are going to tune in from start to finish. So if I'm college football, I think they're panicking a little bit about the length, because even if let's just say every one of those rules pass, you're shaving maybe 10, 15 minutes off the game. No big deal, right? In the grand scheme of things, that it's not really that much time. And that's not including if things actually go to overtime.
I don't mean to say this to take a shot at Ross Dellinger. I'm using him as a scapegoat in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
If reporters don't have the spine to say who the college football executives are and saying that they won't name the source, Carter, me and you have been in this business too long. That's horse shit. Name who's
Well,
trying to change it.
I will say, I will disagree with that. Okay.
Carter, if they're trying to change college athletics, the public view, the fan base, let's call it what it is, the customer base has a right to know who's trying to change it. Because you know why they're not letting it know? Because they know it's so stupid that they would get egg on their face. And they told Ross not to say anything.
Okay, but here's the thing. Aren't you happy that you know it?
No. No,
yes,
I want a public face. I want someone to punch that bitch right in the mouth if I got to.
That's not how reporting works. Though sometimes
he doesn't have a spine. Who's college football? Carter, who's college football executives? Name them.
More than likely, it's probably Bill Hancock. More than likely, that's who it is.
He can hold a cock. That's for damn sure. I got a cock he can hold. That's how pissed off this makes me.
Hey, look, so full disclosure, I know Deli. I wouldn't necessarily consider us like close friends, but I will defend him because anonymous things.
Oh, so you're defending a friend?
I don't know. He's obviously not on your same level of friendship, but I'm defending his reporting tactics. Sometimes things are remained anonymous for a reason. And,
anonymous these nuts.
But guess what? But no, stop. Aren't you happy that you know? Aren't you happy that you on your channel?
I want to know who's trying. But here's the problem, though, Carter. Here's the problem with this article, and then we got to get to LSU. We're down the rabbit hole.
That's fine.
Here's the problem with that. Who's trying to change it?
College football executives.
Who is that? Is the NCAA trying to change it? Because then we have a bigger issue. Okay,
I doubt it.
Well, then who is a college football exec?
Well, it's probably.
And look, in our society, you have a faction of people who believe that in our world, you have somebody behind the big red curtain using the little puppet strings. That article, it literally tells you that that's what college football is doing.
Yeah, so I'm happy that Dellinger shared that. I don't care who it is. I'm just happy that there are powerful people that want to do this to the sport. It is good for us as a public to know that, right? Because now we can push back. No, you say yes or no to this. You are happy that you know this information.
If I'm happy and I know it, I'll clap my hands, and this isn't one of those times.
Well, but you should be. Because
I'm happy. I'm glad that we know it. Exactly. But you and I both know anybody that has sourcing in this game, like, oh, can you keep a secret? That's them telling you, I'm about to tell you something off the record. You and I both know that. Okay. Happens 5 to 10 times a day in our line of work. But the bottom line is, Carter, okay, then you know what? Here on February 20th, you know how I act with stuff like this. I'm making my personal vendetta to find out.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do it together. Let's Woodward and Bernstein this thing, right? Let's see if we can see who this college football executive is. The truth, though, is I am happy that I know. I am happy that I know they are trying to do this to college football. Okay. Whoever it is, they might just be spitballing to see how the public reacts. Obviously, most of the diehard college football world doesn't want this change to happen. My big point from my personal viewpoint is I want the games to remain the same because there are so few games that we actually have. I don't care that they last forever. This is college football is the most scarce major sport that we have in our society, right? So however long it takes to play it, however long it takes to play, I that's just how I feel. But I do have something I want to share with you. I know you like Javian Toviano. I just got done putting together a deep dive on him and a few other recruits. So I'm really excited about spring football. Let's go.
All right, I'll get you like 3 or 4 more questions. Let's talk some football, and then I'll get you out of here. I know that we spent
No,
way
let's
too
do
long
it,
on
man.
it.
Let's go.
Jayden Daniels out in Dallas, working out with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud as those two
Yeah.
men get ready for the draft. I know that you shared it. Jayden Daniels did a lot of interesting things, talking to sources, talking to people that were there, talking to an NFL scout, talking to an assistant GM who, is in there saying Jayden Daniels looked really good this weekend. When you look and see that what he's doing and how he's trying to build it, throwing the ball down the field, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, when you work out with guys that have accomplished as much as those two college quarterbacks have accomplished, it's a very good thing. And especially those two quarterbacks in particular, right? Jayden is way better of a runner as both of those guys. And now he could see those guys do what they do way better than he does, which is obviously throw the football vertically. All those things are very good, right? And, Jayden, as far as like working on his craft, based on what I've heard and people that are close to him, the intangible aspect of his quarterbacking is incredible. He is an extremely hard worker. He's a great leader. People love him. Plays through injury. He's one of the most reliable guys you can have on your team. And it's good seeing him do those little things to become better as a quarterback. So, really excited to see him in spring. Really excited to see Malik and everybody get back together. And hopefully, this offense, takes that next step, Blake, for the college football playoff run.
Carter, if they look, so here's what I believe. Okay. You're never too old to teach a dog old tricks. You know, the old saying goes, and that's probably a horrible expression to use on Jayden, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I think he throws a pretty ball. I think that here's what I noticed in that film. His footwork's a lot more clean. Okay.
Right.
The quick slant, the sidearm, absolute rope on the slant. If he can the play action pass, the things that he did, and I posted his entire workout on Sunday. If he can continue to develop those things, now I get people say, well, there's nobody in coverage, there's not a pass rush. I'm not really worried about Jayden Daniels getting away from a pass rush and throwing the ball down the field. I'm more worried of him having the confidence to do it. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, it's just going to come down to him being more comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And what I mean by that is throwing the ball before the receiver is completely open. That's obviously a very difficult thing. It's hard to I highly recommend anyone just go throw with a buddy. It's hard to throw a football when someone is not looking at you yet. It is a hard thing to do, and that's obviously going to be huge for his next step. But the only way you can get better at doing that is repping it in practice and getting back into game situations and actually doing it. But in the meantime, obviously you sharing the clips, and I'm retweeting every time you share some of those clips. Seeing him, work on his craft is absolutely huge, and I love it. And like you, like I just personally like Jayden as a person. I'm just very happy that he is LSU's quarterback because he's everything I want intangible wise as a quarterback. And if he takes the next step, that 5th-year step that we're hoping to see, he's going to take LSU a long way next year.
You talked about Javian Toviano and some of the freshmen. Give us some cliff notes on what you've been breaking down.
Yeah, so on Power LSU, we're releasing the senior tape of these guys, and looking at some
very quickly, really, who are these guys? Just if you want.
Yeah, so we've released 3. We've done Shelton Sampson, we've done Lance Hurd. I do want to share, this is something that Lance let me know personally. He does want to be known as Lance Hurd instead of the Lance. And then also Whit Weeks is who I dropped yesterday. Now, what's interesting is Weeks of those 3 is the only early enrollee of the 3 that I've done. Toviano is actually getting ready. That video is going to drop at 8:15. So in about 30 minutes or so, or 20, 25 minutes, whatever. So Blake, what I do is I go look at their senior highlights. I then go look at some other senior clips, and then I go see what they do in these all-star, all-American settings when they're going up against elite guys. And in Toviano, one thing I really liked about him, Blake, is he was fearless. Like, he went up against the best. Like, there was a lot of him going up against Nicholas Harbor, who is the best, receiver in my estimation outside of Zachariah Branch in the country. And that obviously Harbor went to South Carolina, but I look at those. I look at the little things, how they hustle on plays that weren't in their direction, how they match up in certain games versus certain kinds of schemes, and try my best to see how that's going to translate into the next level. And I'm telling you, one guy that just really stood out to me was Whit Weeks. I was really impressed with what he did as a senior, what he did at the Army All-American game. And honestly, Blake, in all my years doing this, I've never seen someone do as many different things as that guy did. Now, is he going to be an elite player? I don't know. But
Got to put some size on if he's going to play on the inside, Carter.
right. And he's I mean, he's got to get bigger, and then he's not the fleetest of foot. He's a great athlete, but he's not S tier athlete. He's not elite athletically. But I'm telling you, that guy was one of the funnest players I have ever watched. But right now, obviously, my board has stayed mostly the same. There have been a few players that have moved up. Kamarion Pinton is one of those guys. And one guy I just can't quit watching, and I know it's mostly just his junior stuff, but Caleb Jackson. Caleb Jackson is just a really gifted football player. He runs a little upright, but athletically, he is very, very special. To be north of 200 and run as fast as he does, I'm telling you, Blake, he can really play. And if he's fully healthy, fully locked in, ready to go, I think he'll get some carries next season. So that's what I'm doing right now. I know you take that stuff very seriously as well. And I love doing it. I really do. I love getting to know these kids. And obviously, I got to interview a few of them a few weeks ago. But man, I really like Toviano. He interviews well. He's a very special kid. He's a guy that Brian Kelly personally just, speaking to a few people, he's a guy that Brian Kelly actually just,
he really
yeah,
likes
he
Right,
just likes
correct.
him. Like he personally loves this guy, and personally, he's really excited that he's an early enrollee. So we'll see. Obviously, I think LSU is going to see if he could play corner, and then eventually, I do see him as a safety. But we'll see. I mean, he's just a guy that you want to have in your stratosphere because of his attitude and so many different things. But I love watching it. I think this is going to be a really good crop of players. Now, the big question, Blake, is going to be, and you and I privately have discussed this before, but there is this idea amongst LSU fans that a bunch of true freshmen are ready to play year one.
Yeah, you're right.
That last year was an anomaly. We had, obviously some really special transcendent level players, and those guys were ready to go, and we were very lucky that they were ready to go. This year might not be the same because those guys are coming back, and we're just an overall better experienced roster. We have a better idea of what we have going into next year. So you might not see as many just year one superstars as LSU had last year, but there's still some very good players coming in.
I can agree with that holistically because I think you got more guys that are going to come. Obviously, offensively, there's not a lot of spots outside of right tackle.
Yeah.
The guys could instantly come in and start, but those guys we'll have to wait and see. Carter, last thing for you.
Let's
Something
go.
that me and you have not talked about publicly. Tommy Rees takes over as the OC at Alabama, along with Kevin Steele as the DC. I don't know if you saw the video that we posted. Everybody said Bill O'Brien was a horrible offensive coordinator. But the funny thing about that is when you have a season where you score 39.9 points per game offensively and then 41.5 points per game offensively, and everybody said you were down this year offensively and you're still scoring 41 points, I don't think they had a Bill O'Brien issue. I think they had a disciplinary problem and a Nick Saban issue that people don't want to address and want to talk about. I guess now, what are your thoughts about Tommy Rees, of all people, taking over as OC in Bama?
Yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face to BK. I kind of took that some type of way, and I'm not just defending Brian Kelly for just to defend him here, but you wouldn't leave for LSU to join Brian Kelly, but you would leave for Alabama. I think that speaks volumes for whatever reason.
Do you think it speaks on how, like, his character?
Yeah, well, not Tommy's character, but why would you not leave to join LSU? What does LSU have that Alabama doesn't? I don't know.
Let me ask you this question: does it tell you anything about Saban, in reference to LSU?
Well, what I think happened here was, and this is key, right? And once again, I don't know Tommy personally, but if you're the offensive coordinator under Brian Kelly is an offensive guy, right? Now, he played defense when he played, but he is more on the offensive side of the football. Tommy Rees, of course, I understand staying with Marcus Freeman and having autonomy because Marcus Freeman is a defensive coach, and Tommy Rees obviously is the offensive play caller. Going to Alabama, the same thing still applies, right? Tommy Rees is going to have full control of the offense. I think what Nick is going to try to do, Blake, is Tommy Rees doesn't play at a fast pace. He doesn't run the run and shoot.
He's going back to his old ways.
He's going back to his old ways. And Nick, older coaches don't like to go out on the limb. They like to, go back.
He's going to want to run the football and play good defense.
That's it. And obviously Bama.
You know why, Carter? Tell me if you believe. You know why? Because Kirby's doing it.
Yeah, and I also just think Nick at this age wants to just be a little bit more steady. I don't think Nick feels as comfortable with this quarterback room. But for me, I like the move from an LSU perspective because that is just going to inspire Brian Kelly that much more, right? I'm telling you right now, if I was Brian Kelly and I saw that happen, I would be livid. I would be beyond angry for this reason. Tommy Rees is in this position because of Brian Kelly, and you don't want to join me at LSU, but now you want to go join my arch rival, and I am the reason why you are where you are in this profession, and that is just the facts. That's not me, sugarcoating it. That's just what happened. I'm if I'm BK, I'm even more inspired to beat Alabama next year. And he didn't need any more motivation, but now he does. Like
I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would be furious. If I was BK, I would be furious that Tommy Rees made that decision. I understand going to Alabama. I understand leaving Notre Dame, and Tommy Rees might have gotten tired of all the BS that happens at Notre Dame. Now that we now know what happens, but still, if I'm BK, I am so mad that this guy did this.
It's hard to disagree. Let me tell you what when I saw that he was a target. It's hard for me to believe that if Brian Kelly called Nick Saban and asked him about taking the LSU job, which Brian Kelly and Nick Saban both confirmed.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. Both of them confirmed that. It's very difficult for me to believe that he didn't call Brian Kelly about Tommy Rees. I think, hint, hint, wink, wink, that a phone call was made to Brian Kelly and asked about him and said, Nick, he's going to run the same stuff we're doing. And you know that what we do is, quite honestly, we want to take some vertical shots, yes, but our bread and butter is running the football. LSU proved it last year with shattering the rushing touchdown record from last year. It's interesting to watch how college football is getting back to it. It is on. I think that we're on to something here in reference to how college football is getting back a little bit more to look. Stetson Bennett might throw for 4,000 yards, but when the going get tough, when Georgia was down to Ohio State, what did they do, Carter? They ran the ball. Okay. They ran the ball at 8.9 yards per carry. Carter, did you know that in the second half of that Ohio State game, they ran double of the amount of attempts in that second half than they did in the first?
That's impressive. And look.
Now, don't get me wrong. Stetson went out there and, Stetson did, but at the same time, that play action pass doesn't work if you're not running the football at 8.9 yards per carry.
That helped. And what I'll also say is this: Tommy Reese's yard per play numbers at Notre Dame was actually
awful.
Well, they were actually okay because if you factor
like
in
6.9, correct?
Well, that's good. If you're over 6 total yard per play, that's pretty good, right? But he had to deal with some rough quarterback situations.
That's on him too now. That's on him too. He knew he didn't have a quarterback. So let's not he doesn't get an excuse for that. Because
but where he does get an excuse, though, is that the guy that he had, Buckner or whatever his name was.
Buckner was worse than Drew Pine.
Right. But they had injuries, so he had to adjust. And Marcus was obviously in over his head early in the season.
Carter, I get you. LSU had their starting quarterback go down in the second half versus Georgia, and Nussmeier threw for 302 tutties.
Right. So
listen, I'm not giving him zero. I'm not giving him any excuses when you had that much established in a program.
Right. But what I will say is their YPP numbers were a lot better than what I initially thought. And
yeah, you know me.
Yeah, heck yeah. Honestly, I don't think Reese is terrible. I just found that interesting. And you're right. Nick Pry called him, and Brian might not.
Carter, tell me if
BK might not care. I'm telling you, BK might not care.
Oh no, I don't believe that.
But if I'm just saying, if it was me and I got you your start in your industry,
you would feel some type of way.
And you said no to me, and then you say yes to the guy, and BK loves Saban, and Saban likes him, all that good stuff. Ultimately, this is a competitive business. I would be furious, and I think Mike Denbrock's even more inspired now as well. And hopefully, we take that into Tuscaloosa next year and we beat them again. That's all. It's the only way you can handle this. So we'll see.
I lied. I don't know if me and you talked about this last question. I swear to God.
Yeah, go ahead. That's good.
LSU goes from a total defense around the high 90s to 100s in the last 2 years to this year they were 41st. Carter, if LSU would have converted defensively a third of the third downs that they ultimately gave up, what do you think the total defensive numbers would have been for LSU last season? Instead of 41st, where do you think they would have ranked?
So were they 41st
in total defense?
In total defense, in yards.
Correct.
Okay, so
if they would have let me repeat it. If they would have given up a third less third down conversions, where do you think that they would have ranked in total defense? It's going to blow you away.
Let's hear it. I'm curious.
12th.
It's pretty good. Here's what I'll say about LSU's defense going into next year. So there's been more studies done on this at the NFL level, that so much of what your defense does honestly comes down to the quality of quarterback that you're playing. So in other words, sometimes defensively, there are some things you can't do, right? The other guy just goes out there and makes plays. The schedule for LSU this next season at the quarterback position is way more favorable than what it was last year, right? Bryce Young is gone. Anthony Richardson is gone. There are quite a few starters that are really good football players that are no longer on that schedule. Now, Jordan Travis is back. Jordan Travis destroyed us. He is top five.
They went 11 of 15 on third down.
And that
A&M went 10 of 15 on third down. Florida went 7 of 13 on third down. Bama, I think, went 7 of 15 maybe on third down, just remembering off the video. What we talked about, and what's crazy? Tennessee, first half 8 for 8 on or 7 for 7 on third down. Tennessee only scored another. You remember we went down. What was it, 33 to something or 30 to something, or 30 to whatever we were.
Right. Yeah, go on.
They only scored another touchdown in the second half.
Right.
Here's another correlation of that. LSU didn't give up a third down conversion, only one.
I like it. But here's my final thing is I think where LSU's defense is going to be better is they have another year under Matt House's scheme. But the inverse is also going to be true. A lot of people now know what Matt House is going to throw their way, right? So Matt's going to have to, reimagine a few things going into next year as well.
Agreed.
And no matter what happens, LSU's got to find a jack linebacker. They got to find someone that could play a very difficult position. And
Matt, Deshaun Womack.
It could be Womack. It could be your guy. And obviously, your report on him being out of the sling is a really good thing as well. So we'll see how it goes. But
I got Solstice.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back. Normal Monday slot.
Yeah, you were hoeing me out there for a while. You were like, Mr. Blake, I can't do it. By the way, how was the steak that Haley cooked you?
Oh, it was world class. Her first ever one.
She sold the recipe?
She got it from you?
No, she got it from her uncle Hubert or something. I read it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. yeah, she did. She did.
I wanted one. All right, buddy. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Cheers.
All right, that's Carter the Power Bryant joining us. All right, to wrap up the show, let's do this. Let's get to our very last break. Fire inside your thoughts on what you want to see LSU baseball do tomorrow, and then we'll close it out. But let's talk about our good friends over at WHAM Electric, our electrical, a licensed electrical contractor. Give them a call today at 985-241-8059, 985-241-8059. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Look, I don't have a lot of things that I want to see tomorrow. I obviously want to see you hit at a better clip. But LSU hit the ball really hard Sunday. They hit the ball really hard Friday. Sometimes you're just going to have the ball go to your defender. The SEC is really good when it comes to depth in pitching. I think I watched Florida's recap this weekend. They got a lefty that goes on Sundays. They'll throw 97. I want to see what Thatcher Hurd can do. That is my ultimate thing tomorrow. The thing that I want to see the most. How does Thatcher Hurd come out and prove himself? But we will be live after, not after the game, normal time at 7 p.m. Tomorrow. But we'll be tuned into the LSU football game that will tee off at 2 p.m. Central Time. Until then, we'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.